Please label your notes. Label your notes. We are in Unit 8 still, and we're going to move on to a new topic. In Unit 8, it is called composition of functions. So you can go ahead and label them. Composition of functions. And all that this means is that you are finding the value of a function within a function. And the hardest part about this is getting used to the notation, because the notation is something that you've never seen before. First of all, compositions are written like this. F with a little circle, an open circle in the middle, and then G of X. In that little circle, that open circle in the middle means composition. F comp G of X. And all it means is this. Another way to write this is to write F of G of X. These two things mean exactly the same thing. So when you see this, it looks like fog. It's not fog because the O in the middle is very tiny. This notation, the fog notation, is a little bit, I think, more confusing than this other notation, this one right here. So whenever I see the fog notation, I always immediately change it to this notation right here. And you know how when you read a sentence, you always start on the left-hand side of the sentence and you read to the right? When you're doing compositions, you kind of work backwards. You start on the right and you work your way to the left. So what we're going to do when you are finding, I will show you obviously with examples here in just a minute, but what we're going to do is evaluate G of X, and we're going to get an answer for it. And then we're going to take that answer and we're going to plug it into F of X. And I think that the best way to explain this to you is to give you an example. So let's go to an example. Write down that F of X is equal to, let's say it is X squared plus 3, and that G of X is equal to X plus 2. Write those down, please. And what I would like you guys to do is find the value of F comp G. So in other words, what I am asking you to do is figure out what is F comp G of X. But, hold on. Don't put an X there. Okay. We're going to do this instead. Don't put an X there.
Don't do anything. Try and click in the little bubble in the eraser. Little bubble in the eraser.
No, I don't want to erase. I just want to go back.
Is there a little backspace button?
I don't know why I was doing that. Okay, put a 3 there. Instead of putting an X there, put a 3 there. So what I'm asking you to do is figure out what is the value of F comp G of 3. F comp G of 3. So like I said before, F comp G of X is the same thing as F of G of X. So in this case, what I'm asking you to do is calculate F of G of 3. And you know what I said about starting on the right and working your way in or working your way to the left? You're going to do that. You're going to calculate the value of G at 3. So that means you do this. You do G of 3. How do you do that? What does G of 3 mean? G of 3. What does it mean? Yeah, where do I go to put the 3 in for X though? Which function do I go to?
G.
Why are you going to G?
Why not?
Because it says G of 3. So you go over here to this function, G of X equals X plus 2, and you replace the X with a 3. So G of 3 is going to be equal to 3 plus 2. What is 3 plus 2?
5.
It is 5. So So now what you have just done is you have figured out that g of x is equal to 5. So now what you need to do is calculate what is f at 5. So we need to do this. We need to calculate f of 5. Which means all you need to do now is go put that 5 in for your x in f of x. So now you're going to use this function. You're going to replace x with a 5. So you're going to have 5 squared plus 3. What is 5 squared?
25.
25 plus 3 is
28.
28. So f comp g of 3 is equal to 28. So you find the value of a function, and you plug that answer into another function and got another answer. That's called
Maths.
composition. Let's try another example. And I will say that when I was learning this as a student, this was so confusing for me. So if you are struggling, I promise it will make sense. You just got to try some more. You have a whole bunch of them for you to practice today if you want today.
Oh, is there a choice? Let me just say.
All right, another example. Let's say that f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 1. That's a little cube up there. And that g of x is equal to, let's do 3x minus 2. And what I would like you to do is do f comp g of x. So we're going to do f of g of x, which really means f of g of x.
Wait, what? All of that.
I like the second notation more than the first notation.
Or do we have to write those out ever?
No,
Okay,
I mean-
good.
no, I don't think so. They usually would be written out for you and you just need to calculate them. So I am asking you, okay, now I got to give you an x value. Let's do this. Let's do let's calculate f of g, let's do 5. F of g of 5. F of g of 5.
We get 5 from.
So that means, well, I'm giving you an x value. In other words, here I just said x. That's what we're trying to do is f of g of x. But now I'm telling you that the x value that I want you to do this for is 5. So your job is to calculate g of 5 first. Now we work from the right to the left. So what is g of 5? Help me out here. G of 5 is equal to what?
17.
What?
17.
I don't think so.
What?
3 times 5 minus 2.
Oh, that's a minus.
It's a minus.
That's right.
Should be 13. Should be 13.
Oops.
So now you know that g of 5 is 13. In other words, this part right here is 13. So what we need to do is calculate f of 13. We have to calculate f of 13. So I'm going to take that 13 and I'm going to plug it into where? Into f of x. So take that 13. You got to use this function now. So you're going to do 2 times 13 to the 3rd power plus 1. And I need some help with the math here because I don't know on the top of my head what 13 to the 3rd power is.
17. Oh wait, that didn't do that right.
13
No.
to the power of 3 is
To the power of 3. Oh, so
It's more than 140.
2197.
yeah, 2000.
2197. 2,197. Okay.
2 times
So 13 cubed is 2,197.
Plus 1
But
is
then we have to multiply that by 2.
43.95.
And then after you do that, did you add 1 onto it?
43.95.
4,395 is the value of that function. So they get big when you're cubing things and putting things to the fourth, even squaring things sometimes gets really, really high. All right, but what I would like you to do now, one more thing, write this down, please. Do this. G comp f of x. I want you to do that now. G comp f of x.
Is this
Same example.
Same example, yes. Remember that G comp f of x really means G of f of x. What's different about this problem?
They're backwards.
They're backwards. Yeah, the G and the f have switched. Do you think we're going to get the same answer?
Yes.
You had to
No.
predict. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, now I want you to do it at the same value. So let's get rid of these x's. Let's do 5. Let's do 5s instead. 'Cause that's what we did last time. What do I have to do first? What do I do first? You work on the right and work to the left. Start on the right, work to the left. What do I start with? Say that again. Yep, do f of 5. You gotta start with this part right here, f of 5. So calculate the value of f of x at 5. So I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna do f of 5. I'm gonna need some help probably with the math again here. We've got 2 times 5 to the 3rd power plus 1. Well, 5 to the 3rd power I think is 125. Times 2 is 250. Plus 1 is 251. But now I'm probably going to need some help. So now we know that f of 5 is 251. So you're going to take that 251 and you're going to plug it in here. And you're going to calculate G of what? G of 251. So now you have to go to G, go to your G function, plug in 251 in for your x's. So you're going to have 3 times 251 minus 2. So 3 times 251, let me do the math in my head. Let's do 753.
Yes.
753 minus 2 is 751. Did we get the same answer?
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh wait, no.
no, we have
Sorry, I was.
4,395. We have 751. So in other words, this you will rarely get the same answer. Okay? There might be
I was
instances
talking
when
about
you do, but rarely will you get the same answer.
Okie dokie.